Before our episode comes to a close, we would like to honor political prisoner, freedom fighter, and father, Veronza Bowers Jr. Veronza Bowers Jr. is a political prisoner at the Federal Medical Center in Butner, North Carolina. He is a former member of the Black Panther Party incarcerated in federal prison for over 46 years, making him one of the longest-held political prisoners in U.S. history. In the more than 4 decades of his confinement, Veronza has become a prominent role model. He is an author, musician, a student of Asian healing arts, and has a strong interest in Buddhist meditation, as well as hands-on healing techniques which he practiced at the various facilities in which he has been incarcerated. Veronza is also an honorary elder of the Lompoc tribe of Five Feathers, a Native American spiritual and cultural group. He is a mentor and founder of the All Faith Meditation Group, a non-denominational spiritual organization devoted to healing meditation using the traditional Japanese shakuhachi flute, which he has been blowing for over 30 years. Veronza is a member of the International Shakuhachi Society. Why was Veronza sent to prison over 46 years ago? In 1973, Veronza was convicted in the murder of a U.S. park ranger on the word of 2 government informers, both of whom received reduced sentences for other crimes by the federal prosecutor's office. There were no eyewitnesses and no evidence independent of these informants to link him to the crime. At his trial, Veronza offered alibi testimony which was not credited by the jury, nor was testimony of 2 relatives of the informants who insisted that they were lying. The informants had all charges against them in this case dropped, and one was given $10,000 by the government according to the prosecutor's post-sentencing report. Veronza has consistently proclaimed his innocence of the crime he never committed, even at the expense of having his appeals for parole denied, for which an admission of guilt and contrition is virtually required. He insists on maintaining his innocence. Despite letters of support from prominent attorneys, former high-ranking representatives of regional commissions, prison officials, and a member of the U.S. Congress, Veronza has continually been denied release due to intervention by the U.S. Parole Commission. With the truth coming out daily about the high incidence of incarcerated people who have been falsely convicted and imprisoned, exonerations of death row prisoners, 156 to date, police and prosecutorial malfeasance, and other failures of the criminal injustice system, Veronza's case is one of many that deserves a careful review. How is it possible for someone to 1. Serve their complete sentence under law, 2. Go through the entire parole process having their release recommended at every stage and at each hearing, 3. Have their release date for mandatory parole rescinded 4 times at, literally, the very last minute, and 4. Have the highest administrative parole body in the nation vote on and fail to overturn their petition for parole and still be held in prison for so many years after this sentence expired. June 21st, 2005 was the day Veronza Bowers Jr. was to be released from federal prison on mandatory parole after more than 31 years of incarceration. This date was based on a vote of the 5-member U.S. Parole Commission in Washington, D.C., the highest governing body in our nation's parole system. At the very last moment, Veronza's release had been canceled. The truth of the matter is that Veronza has served his full sentence under law plus more, under illegal detention, as he has worked hard to improve himself in all ways possible, personally, socially, and spiritually. He continues to languish in prison, be subjected to threats and intimidation, demeaned by the news media, and falsely accused by the very group that claims to be the guardian of law and order in our society. Visit www.veronza.org or www.veronza.org to learn more about Veronza Bowers Jr. in his struggle to be freed.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Resilience Behind the Wall.